Welcome along to number 40 of my Pixiecast in this series. I am back in the United States, back in Tucson, Arizona, and back in the household of the Kies family. This time I am talking to Mr. John Kies. Hi, John. How are you?
I am well, Andrew. Good afternoon to you. Good morning for us.
Absolutely.
My name is indeed John, but if a bus was going to hit me and you yelled, "Watch out, John," I'm going to get hit. So
okay, so it's JR, isn't it?
We'll go with JR.
So I'm going to show my age now. I think of JR and Dallas and Larry Hagman. So
yeah, absolutely. I flew back east to go to prep school starting when I was about 14, and I used to have to fly through DFW Airport, and that was during the time of of Dallas and Larry Hagman. Yeah. And they always got great fun in me making a collect call from JR from Dallas. They thought that was great.
And I think was he John Ross in the series? Was that his
I believe
name?
so.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a whole lot of it, but yeah, I took a lot of heat for it.
So what does the R stand for then in your name, if you don't mind?
It would be John Robert.
John Robert. Oh, okay. Not too far, not too dissimilar then. So
not far.
But no, Dallas was massive over here in the 80s. Absolutely massive program. So, you know, back in the days when before cable TV and that, we only had 3 channels back in the 80s. Right. And you know, we used to get sort of 14, 15 million people watching Dallas every week, and who shot JR. So
exactly, I have that sticker, yes.
But I'm very pleased that the JR that I'm talking to now hasn't been shot. So
not recently, no.
So Tucson, Arizona.
Yes, very hot, very arid. I thought it was interesting that Brandon described it as lush. I don't know that I would call it lush.
Okay.
There's plenty of plant life, and it's just this time of year especially, everything is mostly brown, unless the cactus. But yeah, it's hot. It was. We've been 101. It's the beginning of October, and we're still in the hundreds.
And you're saying no rain for 4 months? You were saying?
I haven't seen a drop of rain in close to 4 months. Yeah.
But that's quite normal. You're telling me.
That's really normally our rainy season is the end of July. Or pardon me, beginning of July towards into August. That's when we get the monsoons. Okay. And I read an article the other day that said that this was the worst monsoon season we've had since 1924.
Wow.
Yeah, just zero rain. It's been horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Which leads me on
to raining where you are is I'm jealous.
It's raining at the moment. Yeah, it's a typical sort of autumn, early winter day here in England. It's just cold, wet, and miserable. So yeah. Sorry, I wish I could send some of it over to you because it sounds like your need is greater than ours.
At this point, yes.
And talking about everything being arid and brown and that sort of feeds in nicely to your job and what you do for a living.
It does. My job is very it's challenging in that this is not a climate where grass grows by itself. During the season, I'll throw anywhere from 1.5 to 2 million gallons of water a night to irrigate the turf.
So you work at a golf course, yeah?
I'm a golf course superintendent. I actually am the one that's in charge. When you see the golf course on television, and you'll see when the pros are playing or whatever, that's what I do. I manicure over 200 acres of turf. I've got a crew of about 20 guys, and we lovingly refer to it as that we grow it and mow it. So yeah, and it's a very demanding job in the desert. I have upwards of 17 to 18,000 sprinkler heads that we're in charge of.
Wow.
We got multi-million-dollar pump stations. I've got a $1.7 million budget to run that golf course.
Jeez.
It's 27 holes. It's a pretty big deal.
That's a major operation.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, sure. Well, keeps you employed, which is a good thing. So
yeah, it's absolutely.
And but you're not at the same course as your wife Michelle, though, are you?
No, I worked at Ventana Canyon before. That's where Michelle is. She's just north of us, about 15 minutes. I'm down south at a retirement community. They don't call it a retirement community. They call it an active adult community.
Oh, okay. Nice expression.
Yes, however you want to do it. And so, yeah, I've got 27 holes down there, and I'm about an hour south of Tucson. Right.
So that's a 9-hole. So you got a 9-hole and an 18-hole then. So
that's correct. We split up into 3 different 9s, and we may end up building another 9. We're not sure, but I have I've got a real built-in crowd, and sometimes that's good and sometimes it's bad.
So the golf courses in America, are they generally membership golf courses, or can anyone just pitch up and play at them?
You've got a wide variety of those. You've got ones that are member only. You've got public courses that anybody can go play. We are considered semi-private in that during our good season, which is October to April, it's prime time to play golf in Arizona. 2 feet of snow in the Midwest, and we're 73 and gorgeous, sunny all the time, no rain. So yeah, now ours is semi-private. So during the busy part of the season, no outside play. Once we get into summertime, they'll let some outside play come in.
Okay.
And we have so many people that come in. We have what we call snowbirds.
Right.
And so they have sense, and they leave in the summertime and go to where it's cool, and then they come back in the winter to enjoy the wintertime.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So our golf course is just packed with people. We really can't even accept outside play because we don't have enough room for everybody.
Right. So how many members do you have then at the club? Do you know?
We're going to I think there's close to 3,000 members.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So a sizable organization then, obviously.
It is. And that's just phase 1. They just started building phase 2. So if I can live that long, I've got enough work for the next 20 years.
Oh, that's a nice thing to know anyway, isn't it? At least you know you've got an income.
It is. I don't want to work for the next 20 years, but that'd be fine.
Are you Tucson born and bred?
I am. I was born in Tucson. I flew back east to go to school. I was born male, and my grandfather had attended that school. My father had attended that school, so I was going to go. I had no business being there, but I went. Yeah. And it was interesting too. We'll get back into that later because that really kind of started all of my musical, my appreciation of music, because it was like having a lot of older brothers. You know, I went at 14 years old, and I had upperclassmen that were seniors, and I had to. I learned a lot about music then from them, just like having an older brother.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
So yes, Tucson, and we spent 10 years in what I lovingly refer to as Finland.
What's that? In
Finland. It's supposed to be a joke.
Sorry, you're a little bit quiet then. I couldn't quite pick it up.
No, it was because the joke's not that funny.
Okay.
No, it was. No, I call it Finland.
Right.
It's Texas.
Okay.
So,
oh, okay.
10 years in Texas.
Because of the Flynn family.
Correct. See, not
got
very
you.
funny.
I'm a bit slow on the uptake. I do apologize.
All right, don't worry. We spent 10 years in Texas. I did the same thing. I worked for the same company, and they asked me to go over there and build a golf course for them over there, and I did that.
Right.
Then they offered me to come back here, and I couldn't get back to Tucson fast enough.
Okay. So it's a place that you love then, Tucson. Tell us a little bit about it.
It's a great town. It's very it's really community based more than a lot of cities. Phoenix is so spread out. You couldn't pay me enough money to live in Phoenix.
Okay.
Really spread out. Everybody's in a big hurry. This is a cool little college town. I say little. It's big enough, but it's small enough that it still has that kind of hometown feel. And I'd say Tucson and Flagstaff are probably my 2 favorite cities in Arizona.
Okay, cool. So you're happy where you are then? Happy in your work?
I am.
Happy at home and happy with the Pixies. So
very.
Tell us all about Pixies then and when they came into your life.
For me, it was a different story than Michelle's that I remember. We were at her brother's wedding, and we were at the reception, and I was listening to these two guys a little older than me talking, and they were talking about music, so obviously my ears perked up, and I heard the one mention to his buddy. He goes, "Hey, have you heard Pixies?" And he goes, "No, I haven't heard a whole lot of them." He goes, "You really got to check them out. They were good." So I took it from there, and I think we ended up getting it was the combo CD of Surfer Rosa and Come On Pilgrim. And we got that, and I was absolutely blown away by those 2 records. But I think I still have the CD somewhere, but the case is cracked. We've probably gone through 3 cases for it. But yeah, that was what really got me turned on to him. And I just remember her brother, to me, he turned me on to a lot of music I'd never heard as well. He's 5 years older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that turned me on to, who do we get from him? Bauhaus, Love and Rockets,
mm-hmm.
A lot of the early Genesis, Peter Gabriel, a lot of that music.
Yeah.
So when his friends were talking, I was listening.
Yeah. A little story about Bauhaus. The manager of Bauhaus actually once bought a car off my dad.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
That's cool.
True story. Yeah. Yeah. A long, long time ago. We're talking about 1980, something like that. So
wow.
I remember cool. I got a little Bauhaus badge actually. I don't know if I've still got it or not, but yeah. So
that's neat.
That was all I got out of it, but yeah, so, yeah. So there we go. So okay, so you were into that sort of indie alternative, however you want to describe it.
Oh,
kind
absolutely.
Of music,
absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that one just kind of. I'm always moving forward with music. I never really let it stall. We were lucky here. Michelle and I were talking about the other night. We used to, we had the only magazine subscription we had was to Spin magazine when Spin first came out.
Right. Okay.
And that was our, Rolling Stone really didn't seem to carry what we were looking for, what we're into, and Spin really touched base with us then. So yeah, I've always really tried to be progressive with my music. And never really just stall. I have a lot of friends that are still have never gotten out of Van Halen in the 80s. They're still just stuck there. So
hair metal, I think you call it, don't you?
Yeah, hair metal. Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
Which was a fun. We used to, like Michelle did as well. We used to hand out. We passed cassettes or CDs back and forth. Yeah. When you're on the golf course and you're mowing and you've got your headphones on and you just listen to a lot of music just to keep it from going bonkers.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine that he had said, "Hey, what are you listening to?" And I said, "What do you got?" And he hands me Bon Jovi, and I handed him Pixies, and we both.
That's not a good exchange.
It was not solid at all. No, we both lasted about 2 minutes and said, "Okay, I want mine back." So
you did better out of the deal.
Most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely.
Uh-huh. So what were you listening to before Pixies came into your life? Then do you remember?
When I was in prep school, that's when I got turned on to a lot of, at 14, I was listening to stuff my parents listened to. I was lucky in that we lived in Tucson, obviously, then too. And my dad had a whole stereo setup where we could be out back, outside, and have music. So we had music around me all the time. The old school stuff, Harry Chapin, Seals and Crofts, Helen Reddy.
Right.
Neil Diamond. Always.
I know Neil Diamond.
There was always music playing. So when I went to prep school, I was able to, like I said, have almost older brothers that were playing, and they would put the speakers up in the windows on the weekends, and that's when I got into all of your what they call, I guess, your traditional old rock, your Rolling Stones, your Led Zeppelin, your The Who. I got turned on to some different bands that I didn't really, I'd never heard of the Kinks before, and I really, they were fun. But that's when I got turned on to, Neil Young, Grateful Dead. There's another Grateful Dead for you in there. Yes, a lot of the prog rock. That's where there was a lot of Genesis, a lot of Yes. It was fun. It was
a lot of good stuff then.
It was fun, and I've always just kind of kept going. Trying to progress what music. There's always new music out there of all sorts of genres, and if you don't get stale and you just try to keep enjoying, that's when you find stuff like Idols. So.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still to be whatever by Idols, but anyway, never mind.
I enjoy it now. I've got to. It's like a lot of music for me. You've got to be in the mood for it. If you're in the mood to be pissed off, that's a good record to put on.
Okay, yeah.
If you're already pissed off, put it on. You're just going to be in heaven anyway. So.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind next time I feel pissed off. So
next time you're pissed off, put it on. It'll agree right with you.
So, Common Pilgrim, Surfer Rosa. So you were right there at the start, pretty much, with all their recorded releases and that as well. So, and you've loved the band ever since.
Absolutely. We continued with that each record. we would get, and pretty much all the way down. We kind of fell out after the breakup, after Trump. I kind of didn't follow a whole lot of it anymore. As far as Pixies go. The post-Kim Pixies for me I haven't embraced it as much as I should have, I suppose. I do like Indie Cindy. Head Carrier just doesn't do much for me. No. And I don't know why. It just has never really grabbed me.
Sure. No, that's fair enough. Yeah. So that's okay. So what would you say is your favorite album then of Pixies?
I am Team Bossa Nova. That's all there is to it. I do love that record. However, I do have a note here that I do have to give props to Trump, because that's just a great rock and roll record. The whole record, start to finish, is really, really good. And the production value was such that it was better. It wasn't quite as raw as some of the other ones, but I am still Team Bossa Nova, and I'll stick with that, with the caveat that Trump is a great rock and roll record.
Okay, and an overall single track from all their releases?
That one was pretty easy for me. I think it was the song that I played for my buddy that gave me Bon Jovi, and Isla de Encanta is probably my
Isla
favorite.
de Encanta.
Yep.
Okay. I think you're the second person to choose that. There's a little while.
To me, it covers all the bases. Okay? It's got the hard edge to it. It's got a good Charles scream or two in it. It's got some harmonies in it. It's a good, for me, I think it covers all the bases.
Well, you're talking about the Flynns. It was actually Greg Flynn who chose that as well. So
he's got great taste, that Greg Flynn.
There we go. So a second vote for Isla de Encanta.
Yes.
Great. That is a great track, certainly. So excellent. Okay, lovely. So do you and Michelle have similar views on Pixies and the tracks that you like and that, or do you sort of diverge quite a bit?
I think we do. When I was going through and I was telling her, obviously, I have a great pre-barge interview prep team with me here, since she's already done it. I played her a couple of the songs that I said, hey, this is probably my favorite. She goes, oh, I think that was my favorite. We go back and forth all the time. But between the two of us, I think that we both have a real appreciation for Trump as well. I have to give that record enough credit, because I think it's one of their more underrated ones.
I think maybe with that album is that it is underrated, probably because they broke up sort of soon afterwards as well, didn't they? Right. So I don't know, maybe people just sort of thought, oh, well, that was the end of the Pixies, and haven't really sort of given it a good airplaying really that it deserves, because it is. I mean, there's some brilliant tracks on that album.
Really fun. It's just a fun record.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you got your Pixies T-shirt on. Is that one of many?
I have. Yeah, I think I counted the other day. I think I have 7.
Okay.
Most of them are, of course, probably 3 out of those are group tees.
Yeah.
Those are always cool. It's so much fun to watch those designs come up and see what everybody picks. And there have been some really brilliant ones that have come out. So yeah, I think I got about 7 of them. But mostly, if you look in my closet, it's either golf shirts or concert T-shirts. That's pretty much it.
So who's responsible for keeping the Pixies T-shirts in pristine condition in the Kies house?
Pristine, they've never been in pristine condition. They get wadded up and thrown in the bag every time we go on a trip. So I do my fair share of laundry, that's for sure. But I will hang them up, and they are orderly on my side. I can't.
Michelle will vouch for that, will she? If we ask.
She would. She would, and she would probably admit that hers is not nearly as organized as mine.
Oh, okay. So you're the organized one then.
I am. Yes. Much to her chagrin. Yes.
Excellent. So after Trump, which obviously you're very fond of that album, and then obviously Charles and Kim went their separate ways. Kim with the Breeders. Were you into the Breeders, or are you into the Breeders?
I really enjoyed the Breeders' first album, as I did Frank Black's first album. His first solo album was brilliant. I thought. I waited in line from 4 o'clock in the morning till 8 on record store day to get that record. Okay. And because that was really good. I enjoyed that. Now I did kind of, like I said, I kind of faded out after that. There was just so many other things that I was listening to at the time, and you know, some Smashing Pumpkins. We were really into Jane's Addiction back then.
Yeah.
We had kids, so we didn't really get to go to a lot of shows anymore. So what we do is pack them all into one. I think we went to 3 different Lollapaloozas.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's how we could get a whole bunch of the bands we were listening to at the time. You know, Elastica, Susie and the Banshees, just a whole bunch of bands, and do it in a 1-day span where we had somebody that could watch
your children.
Watch our children, and we could go do that fun. And so that's kind of the way we did it.
So is that local to you then? Is it Lollapalooza?
It was in Phoenix. Yeah,
okay.
It's a couple hours away.
Yeah.
The first Lollapalooza we went to had Jane's Addiction headlining it, and it started at 11 and got done at like 1 o'clock in the morning. But during the day, it was 117 degrees. In Phoenix. You're in an outdoor venue. There's not a tree in sight, and that was testy.
That's not good though. 117. Wow.
117. Wow. Yeah, it was exciting.
I couldn't cope with that. Not with my English skin, unfortunately. But
you got to be prepared. Yes, that's for sure.
So you saw some decent acts, and the 3 of them you said that you went to.
Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of good bands. A lot of good bands. And like I said, that's how we could pack what we were listening to for the most part. We saw Beck when he was brand new. Nobody even knew who Beck was. Who else did we got a bunch. We saw Sonic Youth was a headliner for one of them. We got to pack in a lot of really good bands in a one venue situation. It was fun.
Excellent. It sounds like it. Yeah. So how many times have you seen Pixies play live then?
I think we're at 4.
Okay.
The first time was in '92, and that was at the Student Union Ballroom here in Tucson.
Right. Okay.
And it was a one-off show that they did when they were on the U2 tour. And
okay.
I don't know it for a fact, but I've been told that Charles has an uncle that lives in Patagonia. It's either Patagonia or Sonoita. Which is
I think I've read something about that. He's got relations there. Yeah.
Yes, and so he obviously came to see his uncle, and they decided they'd play a show here. Yeah. Well, he was 3 hours late for the show. Okay. 3 hours. So he's 3 hours late. Kim is drunk off her ass. She is wasted.
Yeah.
So the tension that I had already was there because the band was near breaking at that point anyway.
Sure.
And then to have him be that late and her be that drunk, it was an amazing show. It was a lot of fun to watch. But what was the Student Union Ballroom used to be an old basketball court.
Okay.
And if you know anything about basketball courts, they're made to flex.
Yeah.
So we had to stop almost 3 times during the show because their equipment would fall over. Because we were all jumping up and down and their stuff would fall over.
Yeah.
And they had to tell us, they said, look, you guys got to take it easy because we can't keep going if the equipment falls over. So did we take it easy? No, nobody took it easy. We just knocked the equipment over again. So that was the first time experiencing Pixies. And then we went to the very first happening in Vegas. I was really, really, really new to the group. I don't think I'd been in the group for 3 or 4 days, maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't know anybody really.
No.
I met Greg Flynn and thought he was Mike.
Okay.
And
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, well, I heard Texas accent, so I just said, well, that's got to be him. But I did meet Mike. I met Hector there. I met Christopher Takashima. I met Pixie Mom. She was wonderful. Meg D.
Yeah.
Saw a few people in passing, but Michelle knew way more than I did, so it was more fun for her. I can't say it wasn't fun, but it was a good time. And that show in Vegas was, I forget the name of the hotel. It was a pretty high-end hotel, and the venue was on the 3rd floor of that hotel. Yeah. Well, just like with the show in '92. This floor moves.
Yeah, the sprung floor.
We had all those Pixies people doing it. I was convinced we were going to go through to the 2nd floor. We had that floor moving. It was awesome. That was a really good show. And to see the excitement with all those people and how much they really got into Pixies it was cool, and that really got me kind of fired up about the group and the people.
Mm-hmm.
So then we saw him again in the Weezer tour, and that was with the Simons from Australia.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend anytime you can get a chance to see them, because they're really cool people.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to mention that out of all the people I've met from this group, to a person, these are just really, really cool people.
They are. Yeah.
Just, you say like-minded and what have you. It's just that there's some lifelong friends here that without this, I don't know how it would have worked out anyway. But
that's why I'm doing what I'm doing at the moment as well, because there's just such a great feeling in the group and literally all over the world. If I can steal a Pixies track,
absolutely.
And this is why I wanted to do what I'm doing now. So to just spend some time and meet people who we at the moment aren't able to get to meet up and go to gigs and things like that. So no, you're absolutely
we've been lucky
spot on
that
about
we've got to run into a bunch of them. I've seen a bunch of people that weren't even at Pixie shows. It was different shows that we went to. We swung over to LA to go see the Dandy Warhols, and Kimball met us there. Dusty was there. Hector was there. Dusty's brother was there. And then Kirk Carlson flew in to see his mom, and we went with him and Kitty Whitney and Brett to go to the Dead Milkmen. And that was a fantastic show. That was great fun. And Kurt's a blast. And like I said, I have not met anybody in this group that I didn't really enjoy their company.
No, I got to meet Kurt last year because obviously he came over to the UK.
That's right. He came
over to Adele's wedding, and that was
dapper.
Yeah, he was dressed very dapperly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and no, it was great to spend some time with him and with Meg and different ones and that, and the Steelies and that, obviously, and he came over at the tail end of last year and that. So yeah, I mean, it's just fantastic that obviously pre-COVID that we were able to get to meet up in the way that we have, and hopefully those days will come back again soon. So
God, I hope so, because the next Pixies that we saw was the Daydream Festival. In Pasadena. And that's when we got to meet. I met Jim at the Vegas happening very briefly. It was really just kind of a mishmash, and but I got to spend some good quality time with him at the Daydream one. And that was a lot of fun. And that's when we got to meet Jen. I'm a better person for having met her. She's a neat lady. And and then obviously who else we had? The Levies were there. Travis was there. And then Travis has actually come to our house since then. He came during, we all wore masks and did our social distancing as best we could. Just that show in particular was really fun because it was 60 some odd thousand people. And that's way too many people for me. Normally the venues Michelle and I like to go to hold about 250 people. 60,000 was a little much for me. But it was just really cool to see how, anyway, again, it's just the people in this group are really, really cool. And I look forward to, again, like you said, hopefully one day here soon we can start doing that again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So take you back then to Frank Black's solo career, the first album. Have you got a favorite track off that album?
Off of that one, probably Fu Manchu. Either that or Los Angeles, but Fu Manchu, if I had to grab one, that would probably be it.
That's been chosen by someone called Michelle Kies. I don't know if you know her.
Gee whiz.
She chose that as well. Did she tell you to choose that, or is that just solidarity in the family?
Yeah, I watched your thing and I don't remember that, but it was just that song just always kicks for me. And then, like I said, I didn't really go beyond that record very much. That being said, last year when I went to stand in line for 4 hours at Record Store Day, I did end up getting the Teenager of the Year. Because that came out at the same time, and I picked that one up, and I enjoy that record.
It's a good album.
It's good. I haven't given it its full. I haven't given it the time it deserves yet, but what I've heard from it, I enjoy, and I will spin that again on a Saturday morning when I'm having my coffee.
Absolutely. No, it's a very good album. I recommend that you spend some time on that one as well. I've got a lot to catch up on Frank Black's solo career as well, certainly, and certainly with the Catholics. So let's move on to the Catholics. Are you fan of the Catholics' work?
You know, I like it. I can't say as I delved into it quite as deeply as I did Pixies or some of the other bands I like, but what I've heard, I do like. Now, Dog in the Sand is a really good record, and there's some great songs on there. You know, obviously, St. Francis Dam Disaster Man is a great song because it's frank, and because it's not a happy story, but it's a good story. And the way that he does it in that song is like any good song story. It's just really well done, and that's a great song. And that whole record, I think, is pretty good. If I was going to pick one off of that record, it would probably be what is it?
Hermaphroditos. Okay.
Yeah, when you play it to me, it just brought Rolling Stones.
Okay.
It was a Rolling Stones song to me the minute I heard it. It has that could be on Goat's Head Soup as well as any Rolling Stones song. So that one or The Swimmer on that record. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put Hermaphroditos down because that's the first time that one's been chosen. So
cool.
like to have a bit of originality. Yes, I think it was Adam who chose The Swimmer.
Yeah, it's a good time. We're lucky here.
Adam has chosen The Swimmer.
Cool. We're lucky here. We have Michelle gave a shout out. I'll give a shout out to it too. But we have a community radio station here that's run. There's only 4 people on the entire payroll. All the rest of it are volunteers. And there's no commercials. They'll tell you when shows are coming. But they play a really, really, really eclectic mix of music.
Sure.
And you get different people that come on at different times during the day. And we get a lot of Pixies, we get a lot of Frank Black and the Catholics, a lot of Breeders. They play just a wide array of music. You could be listening to that station and you could hear Frank Sinatra, and then it'll be followed by the Sex Pistols. Okay. So they go everywhere.
Of course, they both did versions of My Way, didn't they? So
they did indeed. I like Frank's better.
Yeah, so do I think. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's timeless, that version.
So we're lucky in that we have a radio station that is run by people that care about music, and we get a lot of new music that I have never ever heard. That station is who turned me on to Sloth Rust, and then Michelle and I fell in love with them, and the story goes on with the group. There's a lot of people that really enjoy that band, and so I get turned on to a lot of new music through that radio station.
And I think your boys are Pixies fans as well, aren't they?
They are, absolutely. Yeah. Jordan, my middle son, he has told me that Team Bossa Nova is dumb and that everybody should be Doolittle. What's wrong with you?
Absolutely. And, he's got great taste. Great taste.
So, and then my eldest son saw them at their reunion tour and had sent me a note saying, "Hey, I'm going to go see them." And I said, "Man, I wish we could go. We just couldn't swing it at the time." But yeah, all of them. My youngest one, he likes them. He can pick albums from them. He's not as into them as the first as my 2 older ones.
Okay.
My middle son was the one that Michelle was pregnant with when we went to see them in '92.
Ah, okay,
so
cool.
He's actually seen them and didn't even know it.
So that was his birthright then.
Absolutely.
So it's part of the deal then, is it, to be in the Kies family that you have to be Pixies fans?
It helps. It helps. Yeah. It keeps you out of trouble. That's for sure.
Brilliant. And amongst friends and that as well, have you got other friends who are Pixies fans? Not obviously in the group, not in the Facebook group, but when you were sort of getting into them and that, were you a bit sort of on your own, you and Michelle, in terms of being into Pixies?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I have 2 really good friends that they're lifelong friends. I don't have a whole lot of friends per se. Friends or me or somebody you can call when you're in jail and they'll come get you out. So I have never had to use it, but that's what I say as a friend.
Good to know.
And I I have always sort of been the outlier. I'm the guy that, oh, I said, hey, I want you to hear something. That they'll roll their eyes and go, oh, Jesus, what crazy crap do you have going now?
Yeah.
So I've always been the guy who has the new music. I'm not stuck in the 70s. You know, they're still, oh, Van Halen and what have you.
Yeah.
So yes, I've always I've always been sort of the outlier as far as that goes.
That's a good place to be, I think, definitely. So,
well, you know, it was funny too. I wrote down in here too that if I had one track, if somebody had never heard Pixies before, and you wanted to pick a track to turn them on to, I got one of my buddies to at least listen to more than 2 songs because I started them out with UMass.
Okay.
And that's just, you know, it's a very simple, straightforward rock and roll song.
It's a bit sweary though.
You know, they can live with that. They hung around me. They're used to a bit sweary.
Even dropped the C-bomb in that, which is not the done thing in the UK.
No, it's not done anywhere, frankly. No, and that's when you try to talk when somebody's listening to it. You want to talk through that part.
Yeah. Not one to play to your parents, is it?
No. There's not Pixies I would play for my parents anyway. So.
And what about the later stuff then? So, you know, from the band reforming, and then you've got Indie Cindy, Head Carrier, the EPs, and into Beneath the Eerie.
Indie Cindy, I like I said, Head Carrier, it just has never really resonated for me. I should give it more of a chance, but Indie Cindy is actually starting to grow on me. I played it on the way home the other day, and I'm like, you know what? This actually, I didn't give this enough of a chance. And there's some good tracks on that record as well. Again, Head Carrier, I didn't do much. We were so immersed at that point in the group that when BTE came out, it's different for them, but it's a maturation of the band that you can really tell. And when something is that heartfelt and recorded that way, it's hard not to like it.
No, absolutely.
That's also a very good record. And that was one where I wouldn't play any of the tracks that everybody was putting out until I got the record and could play it all the way through.
Okay. It's very disciplined.
And we started about 6 years ago, started to collect vinyl again. Yeah. And it's a very expensive habit. But like my eldest son told me, he goes, well, if that's going to be your midlife crisis and you don't start doing heroin, then we're going to be okay.
Well, exactly.
I said, all right, perfect. So
there are worse ways to spend your money, aren't there?
It certainly is. Certainly is. And what I like about vinyl anyway is that it's unlike today's all of our electronics where everything is instant satisfaction. You can just put whatever song you want. There's something cathartic about putting a record on the player and playing the entire side the way that it was designed and recorded to listen to it.
Yeah, and then you have to get up halfway through and turn it over.
Yeah, turn it over. But hey, you know, in the grand scheme of things, a little exercise in my music won't hurt me too much. So.
And for us middle-aged chaps, we can actually even read the lyrics on the sleeve notes as well, can't we? Because they're thick enough.
That helps. And the CD, I have to get exactly. But yeah, I've made the mistake of trying to replace the majority of my CD collection now with vinyl, and I'll never make it. I don't make enough money.
So that's the kids' pension pot going then, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. No college for you. I need the new. I need a 1970. I need Talking Heads album now.
Brilliant. And what do you think to the new single? Have you had a chance to listen to it a few times?
I heard it one time. It was cool. It was catchy. Again, it's like with it's Beneath the Eerie. I don't know how. I never understood how you pronounce the last words.
Eerie, yeah.
Eerie, that's okay. So Beneath the Eerie, it's flowing with that same sort of flow to me. That to me is now is now Pixie sound. We don't scream as much. We don't. We're a little more mellow and we're a little more worldly, I think. And I enjoyed it. I look forward.
Well, I guess Charles has got to look after his voice a little bit as well, hasn't he? So he can't be screaming all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
And it's good that Paz gets a chance as well to sort of be up front and that with the vocals.
Yeah, I agree with her, and I like her in the band. Frankly, I think that I don't think they're losing anything. Frankly, I think that Paz is probably a better musician than Kim was. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Kim. I thought she was great. I mean, who didn't? You know, hell, Kurt Cobain loved her. Danny Warhol's wrote a song about her. So,
Yeah.
But I think as far as her musicianship is better, frankly.
Yes.
I mean, if you can play in a band with Maynard, then you gotta have some good skins on the wall there.
I think, and also she's classically trained as well, isn't she? So, you know, and she plays violin and all sorts of other instruments and that as well. So she really is a multi-instrumentalist in her own right. So, yeah.
And I think that's helping the band, frankly.
No, I think you're absolutely right. So, so you've got a good feel then for the future of the band then?
I do. I think they, this last record gave me a great hope that we're going to be able to enjoy them well into the future. And the more that hopefully we can get them back on the road, and let's have 50 more happenings so that we can all get together and just enjoy each other's company.
Absolutely. I'd love to come over to Tucson at some point as well and see all those cactus for myself.
We will end up in England. We will end up in England.
I do hope so. It'd be great to meet up with you. So.
I've been to Europe, and it was amazing. I went with a select soccer team from Tucson, and we went over and played 6 matches in Germany and Switzerland. We only lost one. We lost to the under-19 select team in Switzerland.
Okay, cool.
But Europe it's amazing. You know, the U.S. is so young in comparison. And you know, I'm walking down these cobblestone streets in Essen, Germany, that are just thousands of years old. Wow, it's really cool.
Yeah, the architecture and all the different types of food and the languages and that as well. And yeah, it is a great place to live. Europe, certainly, with all the different cultures and that you can just hop around to different countries and that. Well, under normal circumstances, not so much at the moment. But no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. But then that's the same for the States as well, isn't it? All your 50 states have all got a different atmosphere and that about them, and a different sort of heritage and traditions and food and things like that. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, south compared to the north, west, east. Having been a kid that was living on the western side of the country, and then being shipped off to Pennsylvania to go to Louis Culture Shop. Everything on the East Coast goes so much faster than it does over on the west side.
So I've only been to a little bit of the East Coast, so I've only done New York, Boston. So that sort of, I did New York up to Niagara and then across and then back down again back to New York again. So I've only done a tiny little triangle.
Sure, and all those, they're very busy in those cities. Everybody's in a hurry. Everybody's doing their thing. LA's in a hurry on the West Coast, but for the most part, I think that the western side of the country is a lot more mellow.
Yeah.
We're not in a hurry to do all that stuff.
Rhode Island, I loved Rhode Island. That was nice, that was nice and laid back there.
I went to obviously I went to school in Pennsylvania, but I was not a very good student, so I would have to go to school in the summer as well. Okay. And I went to a camp school in Wolfboro, New Hampshire, and that's up there in that's some of the most beautiful country there is. New Hampshire's wonderful. That whole area, Maine, beautiful. I wouldn't want to winter there, but it is a really great part of the country.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get back there at some stage. So
I hope so. Let me know.
Thank you. No, I will do. Okay, so we've come to the last question, which if you've been watching some of these, you'll know what question this is that's coming up. So it's come from the lovely Joe Kirkham from Liverpool in England. And the question is that you're in the middle of a dream and suddenly you find yourself naked on stage in front of thousands of adoring fans. Which Pixies song are you going to sing for them, JR?
It's interesting because I actually have had a Pixies dream before. I was not naked. But
I wondered what you were going to say then.
I was not naked, but I was asked what song. Charles actually asked me what song I wanted him to play. Okay. So I would have to take that one, and it would be Brick is Red. Brick is Red.
Okay. Lovely. A favourite of mine as well, that one. Great.
I love that song.
And you haven't spoilt it now by the image of you being naked on stage, so I'll still carry on enjoying it.
I wouldn't stay there for long, but I'd pull off my Brick is Red and get out of there as fast as I could.
Brilliant. JR, thank you so much for your time. It's been great talking to you.
It was great fun. Thank you. And again, kudos to you for doing as many shows as you've done. It's great fun to be able to see and hear everybody. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm enjoying it. It's great spending time with such lovely people. So thank you very much indeed. And hopefully one day we'll get to meet up and we'll share a beer and a Pixies gig.
Absolutely. I would enjoy that very much.
Okay, mate.
Thanks,
all the best
Andrew.
to you. Love to Michelle.
I will.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.